Guys, this is Jack and Tosh, and today we're going to be doing a retrospective on one of my newest consoles I had in my collection, the Mega Drive, my only 16-bit console. I do have a lot of personal history with this, but I'll get into the history of it first, like the basis. Basically, I believe what was told about what I know is that in Europe, the Master System was selling like hotcakes, but in the US and more so like Japan, it was being outsold by the Famicom and NES. So they devised a plan which basically enabled them to beat Nintendo for a long time by making the Mega Drive, or Genesis if you're in America. I've never got why it was called the Genesis in America or in the States, but I'm not one to delve into names and that, because Jack isn't a very good name either. Neither is Jackintosh. Also, you might realise that the thing's a bit slanted there. That's because my tripod's brand new. I'm trying to work out, but this was probably apart from the Dreamcast and the Sega Master System in Japan, in Europe, this was probably their only majorly successful console, and it's pretty sad. And it also got ruined by add-ons, which I'll get into a bit. But the history is basically that they made this. It was brilliant. It was the best. It was Gucci. But then they had to muck it up because they thought, yo, this is our only success at the moment. It may be the SG-1000, but even then I don't think that sold well. But basically they say, yeah, let's just add on a load of stuff to it. So what you'll find in most Genesis models is this little port right here, and then you can slide it out and you'll get this little pin connector. If you have this, then good on you. But basically you could attach a Sega or a Mega CD, but a Sega CD is most commonly known as. Except for a couple of games, it wasn't that good. Neither was the 32X. The 32X, in my opinion, was a better add-on. But, yeah. There were a load of different variants of the Mega Drive. I'll have them up now. But this is the original one, which, in my opinion, I think is the best model. And it's the only one I have. Is the Model 1 with high-definition graphics. Now, there's a second one without the high-definition graphics thing at the top, but if you've got high definition graphics, it basically means it's got the best sound. Also, the Model 1s have a headphone port right here, so you can listen to your tunes without being grounded, basically. Also had the best design, in my opinion. It just looked cool. Also, it was the only Mega Drive that would work with the power-based converter, the official one at least. There's a StoneAgeGamer.com one that you can use on the Genesis 3 and the Genesis Model 2. Speaking of the Genesis Model 2, referred to as the Mega Drive 2 and mostly everywhere else, that console is the most preferred and probably most popular, but this is a lot more iconic. I'd go for this one if you can find it. Find one with high definition graphics, because it's kind of pointless getting a regular one without high definition graphics, because they don't have good sound. And if you just want just a small one, either get a Genesis 2, or if you're really desperate, get a Genesis 3. There's also a load of flashback consoles and all that. They all suck. They're mostly made by At Games. But yeah, this is the Sega Mega Drive. Probably one of the most iconic consoles, apart from the Super Nintendo and the NES. And the Wii, obviously. Maybe a couple of others. A lot of consoles are iconic. But yeah, this is Sega's most popular console. So let's talk about I.O. At the back, there's free I.O. There's an RF. Don't use. It sucks. We got the AV out. You can use... I'm pretty sure... I'll correct myself, but I'll say this right now. I am certain that this can only take 3 outputs. RF, don't use. Composite, use it if you have to. But if you're in Europe, or if you have a transformer in the States, you can get a RGB SCART. It looks wonderful on CRT, not so much so on flat screens. It sucks. There's like weird borders, but that's probably mostly due to the way screens are. You can put in 4:3 if your TV's capable, but both of my flat screens just suck. It's not in the middle at all. But yeah, if you have a look at on the side, it has a little switcher, like slider for the volume for the headphones. We got an on-off switch, and we got a reset button. If you were, and then for the Mega Drive 2, all you have is the power and reset. You don't have a volume thing. But I'm pretty sure in Japan they had a little switch instead of a button. So let's talk about oh yeah, another note. The power cable, I believe it will be also the one for the Master System. I think they did that because obviously in Europe it was extremely popular, so they're like, hey, this can just replace your Sega Master System, because obviously the internals of a Master System are in here, definitely. All you need are the power-based converters to enable the cartridges to be used. Sadly, it only works with this one because it's got the circle bit. This is, as I said, this is my favourite looking console. Well, favourite looking rendition. It's not my favourite looking console. But yeah, I extremely love this. But one thing to note, you might have noticed I have the Sega Saturn out here, which was Sega's next console. The reason I brought this out is because it has a cartridge input at the back. Now, I'm going to tell you this much. If I get a Sega Mega Drive, Sega Genesis, because I assume that most people who are watching this are in the States, probably not. But if you get a Sega Mega Drive cart or a Sega Genesis, it will not fit in there. And they did that on purpose. Because, truth be told, Sega of America desperately wanted Sega of Japan to make this backwards compatible with Sega Mega Drive, but Japan was like, nah, ain't having that, we're just having CD capability. And it sucked, really. This was basically just a arcade machine. I rarely even use it, but it's just something to add to my collection. I'll talk about this in a different episode though, more in detail. But yeah, if we're gonna look at controllers, we have 3 main ones, but there were a load of different ones like fight sticks and activators and all that. It was extremely weird back then. They had a stupid amount of accessories for this console. It was insane. But they also have, but these are the 3 main controllers. If I unwrap this, there's a 3 button and a 6 button controller. Now, people prefer the 6 button since it's smaller and fits in your hand, but at the end of the day, neither of them fit in my hand. I just don't like the design of this, but the bigger one, but the 3 button fits in my hand more. Also, you might want to get this one since it has a mode button, and it's just nice to have that extra feature. However, if you just want that simple, raw Sega Mega Drive experience, just go with this. I'm pretty sure that these are cheaper anyway. I prefer the feel of this. You can see the size difference. Right here, it's stupid. It's night and day, to be honest. Like, it's weird because it's from like different ages of Sega. This was the part where like, oh shoot, we're not selling that many, so let's just make it better. Oh no, like, the reason they changed it was, I believe, because the Super Nintendo had 4 buttons, also a shoulder button, so they added this. They tried to give more functionality to the Mega Drive once it came out, because believe it or not, this came out before the Super Nintendo, so it was lagging way behind except for speed in that department, since it only had 3 buttons. So they tried to make it better. I don't have a Super Nintendo, or otherwise I would do a comparison, but I'm planning to get one. Also, I have this Mega Drive wallet I use as my regular wallet. It's just nice. It only costs like a $5. But let's talk about games. Now, these are these two, the sad thing is, these 2 are the only games I have at the moment. But I feel like a pair of them are must-buys. One is more expensive than the other, but I'll also give you out other recommendations, because I do have experience with the Sega Mega Drive, which I'll get into. But yeah, okay, so we have these two. These are the only two Sonic games I have, and even then, they're the only Sega Mega Drive games I have, technically. But yeah, Sonic 2 and Sonic 3. Get this one if you have the money, because this is way better. It's a bit shorter than Sonic 2, but this is way better in terms it can save and all that. But this is way more expensive, since it wasn't that popular with things. Now, I will show you the carts, because I have a Genesis and a regular Mega Drive cart. I don't have a Japanese one. Japanese ones look very different towards the Mega Drive and all the others. I don't know if this is bootlegged or not, but doesn't look like it. It looks official. But yeah, this is what the most of the cartridges look like. You have a little handle on the back, so you just plop it in. Like that. Brilliant, brilliant. These are probably my favourite looking cartridges ever. Like, apart from the Super Nintendo ones. But that's just me. But yeah, they look a bit different in Japan. But probably the favourite thing about collecting these is that compared to the Super Nintendo, in fact Nintendo in general, they didn't come in cardboard boxes. They came in these cases, and I love them. It's just so good to just hold and all that. Well, not hold, but like keep as collectibles. So Sonic 3, the better game, obviously, but a bit more expensive. Sega Mega Drive stuff is getting a bit more expensive. However, this game is iconic. It was released in America on Sonic Tuesday. Yeah. Like, as I say, I was born in 2004, so I never got able to experience this when they were first released. My first console was a PSP, and I'll come back to that PSP. But yeah, Sonic 2 is a good game if you just want to add to your collection. It is a pretty iconic game. It's also one of the many non-region locked, region-free Genesis games. Unlike Sonic 3, you can get a Genesis game, you can put it in there. In fact, speaking of Genesis and all that, Genesis games are not Genesis games, but I think Genesis consoles run at 50 Hz, or 60 Hz. These run at 50, so these are a bit slower, unless I believe you use the actual cartridge, because I'm pretty sure the Mega Drive cartridges are also made to feel slower, but that might just be a hunch. I'm actually not too sure. But yeah, they were just sticking it. Saying that, I don't have that much good memories out of the three of them. Sonic 3 was the first 2D Sonic game I completed, if you don't count Sonic Generations or Sonic 4. But Sonic 2 is probably... I completed this game. Don't. It doesn't have a save, so if you're gonna actually think... if you're actually gonna play this game, I don't recommend playing on this. Just buy the iOS version if you seriously want to play this. Because it's just not worth it. Well, worth it in the terms of that it's iconic and it's 1 or 2 players obviously, but if you want to actually play it on the official hardware, get Sonic 3. Now there's one game missing out of the trilogy, in fact 2 games missing, Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 1. Sonic 1, I just don't feel the need to buy it because I have it on every console. Also, Sonic and Knuckles, it's expensive, alright? Lock-on technology, I didn't know it was going to be that expensive. But yeah, these 2 games are a must-buy for the Mega Drive on first day. Also, I'm pretty sure in America it's Streets of Rage, but Bare Knuckle, I believe, it is what it's called in Europe. There's also Rise Star, a lot of other games. There's Comic Zone, there's Fantasy Star, there's what's the other platformer? Well, there's Altered Beast, that's one of the classics. But if in my opinion, the best game, Dynamite Heady as well, but the best game on the Mega Drive is probably Sonic 3 and Knuckles. If you get the lock-on technology, well, Sonic and Knuckles game, put Sonic 3 on top of it, put it in your Genesis, like right here, it will play Sonic 3 and Knuckles, the best and biggest game on it. Saying that, probably my favourite Sonic game ever is Sonic CD, so if you have a Sega CD or a Mega CD, just get Sonic CD if you have the money. It's well worth it, unless you think that, like, to be fair, saying that, you could just get the Gems collection on PlayStation 2 or GameCube, or just download it off the iOS store again. But yeah, I think that's about it. The only other thing I really have to say is that if you're gonna... Oh, I forgot one thing. My personal history with the Mega Drive is... Well, I don't have much history with the hardware itself, but I do have a bit history with the actual, you know, video games of the Mega Drive. When I got my PSP, it was my first ever console. It came with the Sega Mega Drive collection. It came with about 16 games, and the first one I played was Sonic the Hedgehog. Couldn't beat it because I was only 6, and my little brain could not process the fact that you had to hit Eggman rather than hitting the actual ball. If you don't know what I'm on about the first stage. I got to Marble Zone, and somehow I always used to think that the special stages were glitched because I was in a ball. I actually made it so that Sonic could actually get out of that ball. But yeah, also Shinobi. There was a load of games. Also, but if you really want to get a collection of some of the best Mega Drive games, get the Sega Mega Drive Ultimate Collection. You will be. If you lived with the Mega Drive in this era, or you just want to like get into collecting and see what games you should buy, just go look on that pay list of games or buy that game. You will not regret it. And as I was saying, I think that's about it. If you did enjoy this video, a like would be greatly appreciated. And as I will always say, adios, amigos. Hey Siri, what do you think my viewers should do?
Subscribe to Jackintosh.
She said it, not me.
What's that? Girl, that's a booty hole.